What's going on, everyone? So one of the centers that myself, many of you, that has been linked to the Lakers is Steven Adams, right? Steven Adams, big, strong, just burly, one of the best, if not the best, offensive rebounders in all of basketball. The guy is an absolute unit, right? The guy is a tank. Man, he is the unmovable object. That guy is a mountain out there, and would just be ideal for the Lakers, right? Be that lob threat, be the guy that can, just anchor that physical, just tough, hard-nosed guy who also, stands up for his players, right? Brings you a little edge, brings a little toughness. I love it, right? Steven Adams would be fantastic. Him slotted alongside Luka Doncic, make all the sense in the world, right? 31 years old, he'll be 32, in about a month. So he's getting up there. Right. There are injury concerns and questions and whatnot. Right. Did have a good year. Kind of questions about his cardio this season, but again, just kind of, coming up off of injuries and all that stuff, kind of, getting back into the swing of things. Right. He didn't really have those concerns a couple years ago. Right. He's a guy that I expect in the right role, right situation. Probably not a guy you're starting. Probably more likely looking to be a backup in a backup role. But whatever. Steven Adams would be fantastic for the Lakers. But got a couple updates, couple news in regards to Steven Adams. One, Lakers do want Steven Adams. Two, there's going to be a ton of competition for Steven Adams, which again, he's one of, if not the best offensive rebounders in all of basketball. He's the guy that, hey, you need offensive rebounds, you can just throw him out there and he's just going to get you second chance points and opportunities and all that stuff. You know who he'd be great on? Removing my bias for a moment, the Warriors. With all their shooting and guys and offense, that like a guy that you could plug in the middle and just grab and give Steph 5 other opportunities in each possession. Don't really want that to happen, but removing my bias from away, that's a team that immediately comes to mind. They could use a center. But point is, there's going to be a lot of competition for Steven Adams, and he's probably going to be priced out of the Lakers' range, right? Right now, best case scenario, the Lakers could sign him to a taxpayer mid-level exception, which he's probably not going to take. He'll probably get more on the open market. He's probably closer to 10, maybe, on the right team, right situation, maybe get close to 15 million, 12 million. A full mid-level exception range is where I could see it. Now, look, LeBron James could easily go, I want Steven Adams, go get Steven Adams. I will take the discount to free up the full mid-level exception so that way we can land Steven Adams. LeBron has that power and ability. So maybe something like that happens. I just don't know if Steven Adams is the guy that LeBron's going to look at and go like, yes, that's the guy. That's that. Now, look, there's other options. Maybe if everyone is just offering him bench roles and backup roles, right? And depending on what his market is, like let's say it is 12 million. I don't know if he'll take 5 million less to go to the Lakers for a starting role. But if it's like 8 million and the Lakers can offer the full tax or not full, but the taxpayer mid-level exception, maybe he'd be like, I could go to the Lakers for 1 and 2. I could start, right? Maybe the Lakers could promise him a starting role, right? That could be something. Steven Adams is a guy that it's almost one of those questions like, do you do and say whatever you have to do and say in order to get him in the purple and gold, right? Like, do you do whatever you have to in order to make that work, make that happen? I think there's an argument for that, definitely. But again, outside of like rebounding and whatnot, what does Steven Adams bring? What does he provide? Because he's not a guy, like if you're not familiar with Steven Adams, he's not a guy that really jumps out, on paper. Right? He's a guy you look at, you're like, oh, the guy's averaging 4 points, 6 rebounds and an assist. Right? Like that's not something that, the average fan would look at and go, man, that's a guy Lakers absolutely need. But if you are familiar with Steven Adams, you watch Steven Adams in action, you're like, that is everything that this Lakers team needs. But what did he do? This past season, 58 games played, started in 3 of them. The previous year, he didn't play. Missed that with the injuries. Again, that's kind of been the problem is, the more recent years, right? He had a stretch, like in the beginning of his year, he was Mr. Ironman. 81 games, 70 games, 80, 80, 76, 80. And then you saw 63, 58, 76, 42, missed a full season, and then last year came back, played 58 games, started in 3 of them. He only averaged 13.7 minutes per game, which was the lowest of his career, by the way. Averaged 2.9, so basically 3 field goal attempts per game. So the fact that he gave you 5 points is he basically didn't miss a shot. 54.5% from the field. On 2-point range, again, 55.2%. EFG of 54.5%. Free throw shooting is one of the worst free throw shooters in all of basketball. That's a real problem, which is another reason I wouldn't like him in a starting role. I'd like him in a backup role, right? You even saw like the Warriors stuff, do the Haka, Steven Adams, right? Because he is that bad of a free throw shooter. Well, you look at this past season, shot 46.2% from the free throw line, but rebounding, 5.6 rebounds, including 2.9 offensive. He averaged more offensive rebounds than he did defensive rebounds. 2.9 offensive, 2.8 defensive, 1.1 assist, half a steal, half a block, and 4 points per game. Now, if you look at his per 36, right? Now, per 36 doesn't tell you everything, doesn't give you the whole story. Kind of gives you an idea, like what would this guy look like in a starting role, more full-time minutes? Because this is a guy that actually did play much heavier minutes earlier in his career. A guy that averaged 25 plus minutes per game, right? You look at kind of the earlier years, he 25.3 minutes. Some seasons, particularly in the heart of that OKC, he was averaging 30 minutes, 33 minutes, 32 minutes, in which he was, a 14 and 10 guy, right? But what is his per 36? Kind of give you an idea. Like, what would he look like back in those OKC days if he was given a full-time opportunity here? And per 36, he would be 10.2 points, 15 rebounds, including 7.5 offensive rebounds, right? So 15 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and 1.5 blocks per game. Right? That is everything that the Lakers need. Everything. So if the Lakers can figure out a way to land a Steven Adams, I would love it. Again, probably best suited in a backup role. But, if Lakers probably are going to have to trade for a clear-cut starting center. But if none of those trades really materialize, maybe you talk to him and just be like, hey, you could probably go to these other teams and make $3 to $5 million more, but come here, be our starting center, be our guy, play 30 minutes a night. We'll have a couple backups. When you need a night off, we'll give you the night off, right? And Luka's going to make you look amazing. Maybe even kind of a prove it year, right? Hey, give us a year and let's see if you like it, right? Come in, play it off. Problem is, if he was 25, I could see that. But at his age now, getting into his 30s, probably going to want more long-term money. But just dude, Luka, imagine what Luka would make you look like. Be our starter. Obviously, if something materializes later on down the road that we don't foresee, then yeah, we might have to move you to backup role. But at least to start the season, you'd be our starter, be our day one guy. Maybe there's an argument to be made there. I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Past question. You let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you ever like this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. Enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.